because that thing was disturbing. That's gonna give me nightmares tonight. That black metal lemur is creepy.
What do you want from me?
I want you to die. That's what I want. You sick little.
And on that note. Welcome to Nerdentials, your weekly dose of the nerdy essentials covering film, TV, video games, and comic books, but not all at once, of course. I'm your host, Joe Tweeten. And, real quick, joining me today are some three class act fellas from our crew. That's right. Over to my side, gotta do this right there, is the Ryan Coon. Welcome, sir.
Hello. I
know we're digital, but I literally just gleeked towards you. You know, where you like you're speaking and a little bit of spit flies out of your mouth.
Oh,
I am so sorry.
It's okay. It didn't hit me.
Well, thank God, right? And our third member tonight, joining us in the lower corner. I love saying this about him because it stands true in my mind, even though it has been nary a fortnight times infinity since we played together online. But I do call him my co-op cohort, my co-op cohort for life, the Nick Thomas. Welcome, Mr. Nick.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
And dude, it is tragically true, is it not? We have not. And by fortnight, I don't mean the game, guys. Traditionally, a fortnight is 2 weeks in, like D&D, medieval fantasy settings.
I just sack tapped myself.
Yeah. Why did you do that? That seems very unprofessional.
Just trying to stay awake.
Is that what you do to stay alive?
That's the only way I could feel alive. Pain.
Yeah, well, at least you still feel it. Oh man. Well, guys, this is episode 119. 119, guys.
Ooh-wee.
We're gonna dive into some movie talk first up, and a little bit of housekeeping real quick. If you are listening to us via podcast, we are everywhere that podcasts are found. Everywhere, guys. iTunes, Google Play, Spotify. We're on Spotify. We're all over the place.
Are we on Anchor?
I'll have to double check. Maybe not. We'll look into it. Where most podcasts are found. I guess just rephrase that now that Ryan brings
where
up
like the important ones are, so that's what matters.
Where all the big ones are.
Unlike
us, but we're here. That's what matters. Yeah. Showing up is half the battle. The other half is extreme violence.
And community. Do you guys, I'm going for the coffee look. It's been a long time since I've done this, but I'm going for a new mug on every episode. Well, I don't know if I can hold to that. I do have a lot of nerdy mugs, so I'm going to be shooting for that. Right?
If we're going for nerdy stuff, I'll fill up my Nuka-Cola bottle with some cola.
Hell yeah. Yes, you do that.
All right,
Nick, are you sipping on some healthy bullshit?
Yeah.
When am I not sipping on healthy bullshit?
I don't. You're a
pretty
different man.
Good, man.
Huh?
You are a different man.
You've been doing
Ryan.
pretty good. No, you're good.
I'm talking over you. That's what I meant. I'm sorry.
I am drinking a hard seltzer. Still, no carbs.
Oh, truly, so you're a white girl now.
You know it.
Kind of like the White Claws.
Pumpkin spice lattes.
I need some alcohol in my life.
No,
I understand, man. I understand.
No, Ryan.
I get it. This
needs
life.
An orange mocha latte.
That sounds disgusting, but I hate orange and chocolate.
Come on, Ben Stiller.
Oh, I know what
Did you
you're
say
talking
an
about.
orange
Way
mocha
to
latte?
go. What? An orange mocha latte?
Today's podcast is
Zoolander.
brought to you by Nuka
Where's
Cola.
your nerd card? Nice. Say that again, Ryan, for all the lovely people I did not talk
Today's podcast is brought to you by Nuka Cola. I don't know the jingle, so don't expect me to sing it.
Unfortunately, we're not actually sponsored, but I wish we were. And we'd be glad to be sponsored by Nuka Cola if it was a real beverage.
If it was.
If it was a real beverage, I would have I'd have radiation poisoning really quick.
You probably would. There's nothing inert about that franchise. Am I right?
Yeah.
All right, guys. I started off the knife a little knife. I started off the night a little
knife.
bit.
I'm gonna join the next podcast we do in cosplay.
Yeah. Ryan says he's working on it, and I like it. You want to tell him your spiel before we jump into things?
Oh no,
what
no,
you're
it's
gonna
be
do?
surprised. I'm not gonna tell these people anything.
Oh yeah.
No.
Nope. Good on you. Good on you. I was
Is
about to
it
put you
what
there
we
at
were
the
talking
focus
about
bit.
before that one time?
At band camp?
You're asking me to remember stuff, and that's not my forte.
Yeah.
Except off
don't even
air,
know what
you
we talked
said you
about.
have a photographic memory, so it doesn't
Of
apply
unimportant
to.
stuff. This is an important thing because it involves me.
Understood, sir. Understood. All right, hold on, guys. I'm just gonna check my webcam here. It's been a little glitch. I don't know what the stitch is here, but all right, guys. Well, we podcast everywhere. We're also primarily on YouTube, so go check us out. Nerdentials podcast. Our previous primary channel is now Nerdentials Gaming. So for those new and old, if you're just coming back after our long break, rather, that's more our fault than anything. Then do go check that out. Nerdentials Gaming, Nerdentials Podcast. The podcast is where all the stuff we do here will be found. So hit subscribe if you're new to there, or if you're previously on the other channel. If you don't want to subscribe to gaming anymore, we understand, but go subscribe to our podcasting so we know how many of you guys are still around. But that being said, guys, well, Nick and Ryan, I think it's time that we jump into our Monday episode of Movie Matters. You ready?
Let's do
Movie
it.
matters.
Yeah,
Do they?
I don't think so.
they do. I am so sorry. I cut you off mid-sentence there, Ryan.
It's okay, you rude bastard. I'm kidding.
It was very cinematical.
It was actually really, really good timing. That was funny.
Cool. It's unfortunate.
It's all about streaming TV shows nowadays.
Well, and film. A lot of movies get streamed nowadays too.
So
True.
your rudeness was approved.
Yes.
Rudeness approved. 1 second.
Where'd he go? That son of a bitch.
I may need to unplug and replug this webcam. I don't think it's the internet. I'm plugged in directly to my interwebs. Well, that much I know is true.
You just want to leave us.
I'm not trying to.
Just like Matt leaving us. He's
Shout
not
out
here
to you,
so I can
Matthew.
talk shit.
I know he doesn't. This will be the one time that he listens, but yeah, he doesn't listen to our podcast. But yeah, it'll be the one time.
Wait, we have a podcast?
I don't know. I just talk to you guys because I'm bored.
Nick, were you on mute or were your headphones on blast during my whole housekeeping segment where I told everyone?
No.
No?
The fuck was the housekeeping
I
segment? Because I was not paying
I just
attention.
tune you out when you start talking usually, but that's besides the point.
Same.
That's going to make podcasting really hard, guys. You guys got to stop doing that. I don't know how we keep it together all this time or how we have been.
I usually just wait till Matt relays what you say, and then I listen to what Nick says because he relays what Matt says. It's like a game of telephone, and we just figure out what goes on after that. And that's why it works.
And then 90% of the times I'm guessing on what my answer should be.
And I'm only half listening to Nick, so it's 50% of the time I'm right about what he said.
Well, guys, I don't cut a lot out, so you guys must be doing something right with the whole telecommunicating.
Yep.
Well, Nick, Ryan, we have. I kind of want to do a couple short reviews from me, and anyone that's watched them can pipe in too. And then I'd like to segue about a journey I've been having.
Oh,
A marvelous journey.
marvelous.
Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge,
I have
nudge.
no idea what you're talking about.
Well,
I'm too smart to perceive your human things.
Well, the truth shall find you later in the episode, sir. Nick, I'm going to touch on this real quick. Maybe not quick, but quickish.
Quick.
So, Nick, I'll just give the breakdown of who was involved and that sort of thing, kind of the general premise, and then we'll just give her initial thoughts. I'm not too worried about spoilers, but I guess we'll keep it relatively clean, and kind of give her. I have some thoughts on how it is as a quote unquote standalone sequel. We'll see. All right, so guys, The Matrix Resurrections is officially the fourth title in the film franchise of the same name, The Matrix. It has been described by Lana Wachowski, one of the two Wachowskis. The sisters were involved in all the films up until now, and it's just the one director, not the two, that worked on this one. So Lana Wachowski worked on this one. It does star the return of Keanu Reeves as Neo, Carrie-Anne Moss as Trinity. They brought in a younger recasting of Morpheus from an actor, forgive my pronunciation, but Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. Jonathan Groff as Smith, the newest iteration of Agent Smith, and Neil Patrick Harris as a character known as the Analyst. Those are kind of the bigger names that are in this story. The premise is return to a world of two realities. One, everyday life. The other, what lies behind it. To find out his reality is a construct to truly know himself, Mr. Anderson, a.k.a. Neo, will have to choose to follow the White Rabbit once more. So I know that was really vague because there's kind of a lot of threads in this fourth chapter, and I know if Warner Brothers had their way, they would continue milking it for all it's worth. Maybe a series will come of this, but officially they are claiming on paper that this is the final chapter in the mainline franchise known as The Matrix. They say it's the final chapter. They claim it's not a direct sequel, like they're claiming, but
I mean, they claimed that before with the third movie.
Well, no. Okay, so a quick backstory to new and old fans of the genre or the Matrix films themselves. The Matrix was a standalone film, completely, fully created on its own back in 1999 and released to wild acclaim in theaters. It was rated R. A lot of my friends, when I was in high school, liked it. I lived a much more conservative life and was not allowed to watch it. So much later in life, I watched it. I know. But when the sequels were announced, I was of age and out of high school that I was able to watch the original. And then within a couple years of that watch, I was able to watch the sequels. So for me, they all kind of happened at once. The sequels were the studio wanting more money from an incredibly, insanely successful original idea. And as they usually do.
Sadly.
I know. Well, it's sometimes, sadly. Sometimes
that third movie was garbage.
Well, and the thing is, regardless of the individual opinion of those films, they were filmed back to back. It was meant as one gigantic chapter that was split into two parts.
Yeah.
So we had, The Matrix Reloaded and The Matrix Revolutions. And the Revolutions was our friend Neo's basically final attempt outside of the simulation to take down the AI robots that were using humans as batteries. And to keep us docile in these battery containers, they created what we know as the Matrix, which simulates normal modern day life so that we are unaware.
Back in the peak of humanity, 1990s.
Yeah. So I liked all the films, but nothing has been better than the original, sadly, in my opinion. And as far as the two original sequels that came from it. And a lot of that was because the Wachowskis had no plans of making this an extended, deeper story. And I think the studio probably rushed them a little bit, because it's not to say that they aren't talented enough to at least come up with a good story, but I think it was the fact that they weren't planning on it, the fact that the studio wanted to get it done. A lot of factors go into why sequels don't turn out great, and in this case, it should have never had sequels. It should have just been immortalized as a wonderful standalone flick, and I think we would have loved it all the more. But now that brings us to the Matrix Resurrections, which again, in my opinion, it's another stab at nostalgia, another can we make a little more off this franchise from the studio. So I'll give my hot take feelings on it, because I watched it blind. I didn't know anyone else's opinion about it going into it. I finally got around to it, and for all intents and purposes, I enjoyed it. Like, I went into it not expecting it to tie to anything. I just wanted to see, let me just experience it for what it is, and see if I can walk away from it with that. To its detriment, I'll say, it connected things that they said it wasn't a sequel, but I'm going to tell you right now, my hot take is, if you haven't seen those other sequels, there's like a shocking amount of references to them that will leave completely brand new fans or brand new viewers who've never seen the sequels completely clueless. I mean, there's a shocking, for a film that was touted as being something that was not supposed to be a direct sequel to the previous sequels. It was meant to be kind of like a one last go, a one like a swan song for the original actors from the first film. That's what it was sold as. But little do you know that if you have not watched those sequels, there's a lot about this film that will get lost in the action, in the noise, the narrative. There's a lot going on in this film that if you do watch the previous films, it's a great experience, and you can have a lot of fun if you feel the need, like if you want to binge these, like if you want to watch all the films in order, it's a nice cap to the story of Neo and Trinity being like the two main people in this. It's almost like kind of like a love can overcome all sort of thing. We can use the power of our connection to fight the machine and end all this. But at the end of the day, a lot. I did really like it. I'm gonna, for me personally, tons of nostalgia, tons of references. It's super meta. You talk about the Matrix itself is a metaphor for being meta. Living within a simulation of life inside of another life. It's crazy because the whole taken. A lot of people were talking about rumors before the movie came out, like. So we're going back to the Matrix, and based on the trailers, we're like, is he a movie director that like we find out that Neo was just, he made the Matrix films and he was the lead star in it, and it's meta like that. But it's early in the movie. This is not a huge spoiler. It is the premise for the whole thing. We find out he was a game developer, and that the Matrix was actually a series of video games, which is not much different than film.
Yeah.
As far as the meta part of it, our lead character who went through all this crap, turns out he put himself into the video game, or in the fan theories I thought would have been even more meta, he put himself in a series of films that were blockbuster hits. The Matrix, right? The movies. And so it's a movie instead of a movie. That would have been super meta. The whole thing was still meta. And I enjoyed it for that. It was a lot of fun. And I think the acting, Carrie-Anne Moss didn't have a lot of time in the film to flesh out any sort of like amazing acting scenes. I think she did her part based on what the script gave her, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But as far as, oh man, I'm ashamed to say I have not watched the John Wick films, and I know that.
What?
I know.
What?
I
Oh
know.
no, we're gonna have a movie night. I'm not gonna stand for this fucking blasphemy in this podcast. We're gonna do a movie night and we're gonna review those fucking movies. This is not negotiable.
I am completely down. I want to. They've been on my list for a long time. And because of that, it's funny because everyone, when they see the trailers for the new Matrix, it's like, oh, John Wick's going back to the Matrix, huh? Because Keanu Reeves has maintained his look, for the last 10 years.
He's immortal.
Yeah, and so I thought he was great. I thought he was great.
I fucking love Keanu.
I just love Keanu, period.
Yeah.
And I want to see the John Wick films because of that. Like,
the first two were amazing. The third movie's kind of It's good, but
Yeah. What I want to do right now, though, is Mr. Nick. I'm about to toss it over, Nick, to you if you got a moment that you can give me. You've seen it, right? I know you've seen it, right? Okay.
Brian, have you seen it?
Seen what?
Matrix. The Matrix thing. Okay. So, I mean,
I'll be here for moral support, though.
I didn't do any major spoilers. I just talked about the meta aspect of it. Let me give you my rating, Nick. Since I didn't do that yet, for the critical for what I thought was just really unfortunate with what we got versus what we could have got. I stick that really close to a 7. For the personal enjoyment out of, like, for me personally, I'll bump it up to an 8 because from a critical standpoint, I'm like 7, maybe less, because they just did not do what I would have expected out of the Matrix, being like, hey, come on, you need to like repent for your sins of the sequels. Come on, make this a great comeback and finale. And because it didn't reach that mark, my enjoyment through it, I watched it blindly, not knowing anything about it, and so I give it an 8. It was just kind of high on the high end for me because I did have fun watching it. I kind of base a lot of my ratings are based on how much fun did I have. So I will still say I gave it an 8, having no idea what anyone else's opinions were prior to watching it.
I give it a 0 out of 10 because I have not seen it.
Well, shit, that makes sense.
Then I'll give it a 10 out of 10 when I do see it.
Well, you go ahead. If you feel that way, you feel that way.
Maybe.
But Nick, I want you to give us some thoughts and a rating on your experience with it.
I'm going to do this a little bit backwards, and I'm going to explain why.
Oh, okay.
9.5.
Ooh.
Okay.
All right.
I went into this with a lot of people telling me that it was awful. I had a lot of people telling me, hey, it just wasn't right. It didn't seem like a Matrix movie. There was too much Hollywood influence in it. I don't know if people realize this. The Matrix originally was a overt stab at not stab, but it was this was the first movie was actually meant to portray the Wachowski brothers lives because they are trans. They are now the Wachowski sisters. So the whole being stuck in a body that's not theirs, all those things, the whole movie was all revolved around that. A lot of people didn't realize that.
Well,
another thing this touches
count me as an audience member that didn't know that, Nick.
Yeah.
I'm soaking this in right now.
What?
You didn't know?
No, honestly, I didn't.
You haven't seen John Wick, and you never. They say never meet your heroes.
Oh, but did I used to be your hero? Sorry,
used to be.
They also did it because anybody going through any mental issues, depression, stuff like that, because it was something for people to relate to. And I thought they've always done a good part on making the movies relatable. The character, yeah, in the game he's badass. In the real world, he has issues because his body has physically deteriorated from being stuck in this machine. But this new one, I like where they went with it. A lot of reason why people had an issue with how it was filmed, how it was shot. If you think about it, in the first movies, every single one of the fight scenes, they were one-on-one fight scenes. It was Neo, Agent Smith. It was Neo, Morpheus. They made these so that they could slow it down, break it down, so these fights were more intense.
They gave us a little bit of that, a couple one-on-ones.
Yes, but the majority of the fights in this were multiple people fighting.
Right.
And everything was panned back, drawn back, so you see a little more chaos in the fight. So it's not Neo as a center, not Trinity as a center, not anybody else as a center. It rotates around and actually goes to all these new people, giving everyone a chance to kind of shine how they're badasses. And because it was shot differently, it didn't feel like a Matrix movie to a lot of people.
There was a lot less special camera acrobatics compared to the first one, which I feel was such a huge talking point because it was one of the first movies to do a lot of the things that the Matrix pulled off. Bullet time was a very original concept in 99.
And then Max Payne came out. And everything was bullet time.
Yeah. But then they made a big point to say Neo was not the one he used to be. That he was changing into something different. I think that was paralleling with what we talked about originally. But it kind of makes sense. He spent all this time completely just under the thumb of the machine, being told he's his programmer.
True.
And seeing that physical fight to regain some sort of power in his life is what made it more powerful to me. This actually was my second favorite out of all four.
I'm pretty sure I'll have a similar opinion personally.
Even though I came hard on some of it, an 8 out of 10 to me is still a really decent score. And I agree with you as far as placement for favorites. It compared to all four of them, for me it does as well come in second place alongside the original.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Good.
I was saying, don't get me wrong. I heard people say they didn't like the third one. They didn't like us. I loved the whole trilogy.
So
in its entirety. Even if people thought the third one was very weak.
I know, yeah.
It was needed as a wrap up.
Personally.
Yeah.
It was needed as a wrap up.
When I say it's hot garbage, I don't mean it in the most disrespectful way. I just mean in comparison to one. One was an absolute 10 out of 10 for me. I would say 2 is a 8. And 3 was like a 6. Like, it was good. Like, 5 is a good rating for me. 10 is an almost perfect rating. 3 was good, but it was what was necessary.
Yeah.
It was a wrap up. Like, yeah.
But this movie, instead of the outward struggle against the machine, I felt this was an inner struggle for Neo to re-find himself, which I thought was more powerful than the messages before.
And I think that's kind of poetic considering what the original was about for the Wachowski sisters, in that when you do a transition like that, there is a lot of finding yourself in it. And like you're having to basically readapt. Like this may have been your truth your whole life, but there's a whole lot of differences that'll happen to your life, especially as you get older, because the Wachowski sisters are older now. It's been 23 years.
Yeah.
And none of these actors are in their prime except for the newly cast people. So I feel like
Keanu Reeves, because he never ages.
You know, Keanu Reeves is hundreds of years old. I've seen Renaissance paintings of him. This motherfucker doesn't age. All he did was grow a beard.
Vampire.
Yeah. To hide it more, to really disguise the idea of his aging.
But like, as we were talking about before the podcast, I think there's a certain point in your life where you realize you are not as spry, as able to bounce back as you are when you were like in your early 20s. And I think that the ability to just regain that youthfulness, that strength, that inner strength anyway, and also there's just so many multifacets of this, and go with depression. Every time I've ever come out of a depressive episode myself, like I'm back and I'm great now. It's regaining that power. So I think, even though I haven't seen the movie, I think that is a really poetic thing, because there's just so many different facets, from the Wachowski sisters to every other allegory that the original trilogy could have been.
I was like, you've stated you've seen all 3 previous films.
Yeah.
Right. So
and the Animatrix.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's just like 4 is just it is kind of an extension, and I think am I wrong, Nick, or do you agree or disagree with the statement that I feel like this is a swan song chapter for, our lead characters, at least in some way?
Lana Wachowski said that when she did this, that she never planned on doing it. To her, Neo, Trinity, the whole thing for Matrix was dead.
That makes sense.
What ended up happening,
which is why both of them didn't get re-involved, because only one of them agreed to do it for the studio. Because the studio wanted this.
But also, it works.
Oh, sorry,
because if you think about it, the overseer, I forgot what he's actually called. Neo wasn't even the first one, so it could easily just be the next incarnation of Neo, like a different body, whatever. Because Neo wasn't the one that happened in the Matrix, as far as canon goes.
Yeah, Nick, what were you? Nick was trying to say.
I was going to say it wasn't the studio
the directors
that wanted this to happen. The year before this was done, Lana Wachowski's mom and dad died. So after this whole transition and everything else, there was a big void, and they thought the only part that they had this happiness in their life, that they're all together, was when they made the Matrix movie. So she wanted to bring back the 2 most important people in her life and do poetic justice to it, because she felt that she left it hanging and she needed something out there.
Closure.
So
that makes sense.
Neo and Trinity. So she wanted to bring it back. It was actually kind of cool that's the reason behind it. And this was also a test to see how the world would handle having the Matrix back. Seeing if it would be something to come forward.
It does sadden me that Lily wasn't a part of it, but I am looking forward to seeing the movie.
And I can honestly say that if anybody said that this was not part of the original movie, this is a direct sequel.
I think what got lost in the mix was some fans, I'm just guessing, I haven't read any quotes, but I feel like maybe a large group of original fans of the original movie want to pretend that 2 and 3 never happened. And so they formulated on the internet the idea that, it's just a spiritual sequel to number 1. They're not even going to mention crap about 3 and 4, but that was completely not
think
true.
I remember seeing that myself, so I think you're right there.
That's why I went into my review mentioning that.
But why would they name it Matrix Resurrected?
Yeah.
There's actually a big reason why it's called
that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and the fact how go into detail what happened there to why they're still alive was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know the whole.
If you get a chance to rewatch it, Joe, if you can actually know why Morpheus is the way Morpheus is.
Oh,
it wasn't the original Morpheus.
Yeah, no, I know, because the previous iteration of Morpheus sacrificed himself, or goodbye. Spoiler warnings to the original trilogy, guys. Sorry, you know what I mean, right? I mean, that's part of what it was, right?
Part of, and the fact that since it wasn't a person and it was something done in code.
So, what? Curious. Was it just happenstance?
Spoiler warnings.
I know.
Warnings. Well, you want to walk away? If you want to mute me, or if you don't care, Ryan.
I don't care.
Okay, Morpheus.
Real quick, hold on.
Warning. Spoiler alert. Warning. Spoiler alert. You have been warned.
I didn't expect to make this whole episode about the one movie, but I'm
the reason why Morpheus was a different actor in this is because it was not the original Morpheus. Because this version of Morpheus was one that Neo created using code. He created it in that pocket program that he was using to try to get himself out of the loop.
Gotcha.
But quick side question then. Who is the man on the ship outside of the simulation who looks like the character that the robots used as Morpheus or the code? Because Neo meets him in real life, or Neo meets someone in real life that's Morpheus, right?
He meets other people, but the thing that you see outside of the ship is the nano projection. Do you remember they were showing that technology?
I get that, but so did he never? I mean, in the original films, did that something? Is that like lore they?
No, in the original films. In the original films, Morpheus was real. Morpheus sacrificed himself.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
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 Well, not in the time you're thinking, but yes, Morpheus was around for this, but this Morpheus is a recreation from Neo's own mind.
Sorry, the description you just gave us was to describe this current version of Morpheus.
Yes.
He was created with code.
Yes.
Sorry, I thought you were trying to explain away the original. So the original Morpheus was a real person that Neo knew. Yeah. Sorry, I'm on the same page now. My bad. Holy crap.
What's in your coffee cup?
It's okay, man.
Not coffee. Side note, since
you were judging him about alcohol.
Since we're in spoiler territory, Nick, I re-listened to the last episode and I'm like, that's crazy. I never told him that I was drinking actual coffee last week and I actually put vodka in it.
We know you well enough.
Nick thought I was turning a new leaf last week. I said, this is the strongest coffee I've ever had. And that's exactly what I said to him word for word. And Nick goes, oh, coffee. Changing it up, switching it up from alcohol. This should be interesting. Word for word, that's what you say. I'm pretty close to
He was actually more sober last week than usual for
sober sounding recordings. I was buzzing I was buzzing 90% of the recording.
Nice.
I was sauced up on,
but yeah.
Anyway,
that's why you get a 9.5.
Let's get back to your thoughts on it. So, okay, 9.5 because of all these crazy deeper meanings for you.
I like when someone takes the lore and drives it home. An important part for me for any for any universe someone creates is to stick to the rules and stick to the lore. If you can't do that, you shouldn't be doing it in the first place.
Agreed.
And they not only stuck to the lore, they expanded upon it.
Word, dude. Word. Oh man, bro. All right, so
And we're probably going to have fans of our show hate me because I liked it, but I'm okay. Because one thing I'll always be for you guys, fans, whether you like me or not, is I'll be honest. And that was my first opinion.
Like I said, showing up is half the battle. The other half is extreme violence.
So, real quick, Nick, I'd say cutting out any pauses or breaks we had, we're probably really close to like 50 minutes. My thought is I'd like to just brush across a few things that I've watched in the interim to catch up to some stuff.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back with some actual movie news and rumors and stuff, because there's a lot of good stuff to talk about there.
What the shit?
I know. So
I have been grossly out of the loop on everything media related because I have been binging Fairy Tale for like the past month.
Binging what?
Fairy Tale. It's an anime. I've been trying to plow through all of the fucking episodes before I go back to Demon Slayer. So
He said plow.
Yeah,
oof. That sounds exciting, sir. I like that.
It's a good show.
I got some other films I want to review, but I know Nick has watched one or two of them, and I'd like him to review it with me, but I don't want to make this episode too long, so I'm just going to give you guys a brush up on what I've been trying to catch up on as a nerd, and trying to earn my nerd card back after having lost it long ago from a previous conversation I had with Nick. Just kidding. Anyway, guys, I've been binging some Marvel material because what's coming ahead in the forthcoming months, both in film and Disney Plus original programming like TV shows, a lot of stuff is coming. 2022 is like phase 4 for Marvel, and it's going to lead to the next crazy big thing in cinemas. Like, if listeners out there, if you all recall, we've done extensive coverage on the past 2022 films that led up to the Infinity War and Endgame masterpieces, like the biggest superhero films of all time. They're both in the top highest grossing films of all time, in the top 10. Can you believe that in a day and age where superhero films are in the highest grossing bracket? But on that note, since now that things have we've calmed down a bit, Marvel Studios and Disney has not stopped. They hit the floor running with Phase 4, and because I missed a few films in 2020 with pandemic stuff happening and a lack of motivation to get to them, sadly. Shame on me as a nerd, but a lot of people felt this way. Overall, just it was slow going. And I heard that Spider-Man No Way Home is one of the few films that has kind of saved the box office coming out of 2021. It being one of it's getting up there. It made a crap ton of money. It made a $250 million in the first couple weeks before the end of the year. So it's hitting the box office in spades, and we're still not completely, pandemic free yet. So that's crazy across the board for film industry. But because of that, in light of that, and knowing what we're going to get in 2022, I have been binging. So quick take on a few different films I've been watching in the Marvel Universe, guys. In preparation for the TV original show Hawkeye that we'll cover that in TV talk at some point. I wanted to watch Black Widow because I knew that Yelena, ScarJo's Russian sister in Black Widow, was going to make an appearance in Hawkeye. So I'm like, okay, there's a few things here that I need to watch because these shows are going to start connecting more and more to the movies. So I watched Black Widow. Hot take, fun. This is a fun movie.
Tell me what to do.
I didn't tell you what to do.
You just said watch Black Widow. I've seen it. I'll see it again.
I said I watched it, but I must have mumbled the word I.
I didn't hear it. My bad. I was only half listening because I finally found that James Spader quote.
Oh, jeez.
I told you it's a telephone game.
Yeah, it is. And Matt and Nick are not here to help you.
No.
Hot take. It was a lot of fun. I think it was kind of, I don't know. It in me, it comes under a lot of the other films. It was good, but it's not as good as some of the Marvel greats that we've gotten over the last 10 years. But I'll still give it a solid 8. I enjoyed it. Freaking David Harbour.
Yeah.
I love that man in a Russian accent and a red suit. Oh my gosh.
I just
was
feel
hilarious.
that movie deserved as much love, especially for how long we've been waiting to get it. It deserved as much love as a lot of the others, but I'll give it a solid 7 myself.
I think, yeah. I mean, oh man, had it come out at the time when it was supposed to, it maybe would have done better.
If it came out right before Infinity War, that would have been fantastic.
Oh, Nick is rating it lower than all of us. A 5,
It's the lowest rating I've ever given on this show.
Ooh.
For a Marvel film.
It's the lowest rating I've ever given on this show.
Well, I wasn't going to spend a lot of time on this. I just want your hot take.
I want to know
why it's hot garbage. I mean, 5, sure, it's watchable. You're not throwing it out, but like
3 is garbage. 2 is hot garbage.
Why was it
1
so
is
low?
absolute dumpster fire.
Again, it's important to follow the rules of your universe you create.
True.
So what was the biggest... Okay. Your fanboy rating is 5, and that obviously ruined your experience, so I'm going to expect 5.
That messed with my experience. All the stupid hubbub around it because of the contract and lawsuit. But
so
for the movie itself, for the movie itself.
I was like, give me the movie rating.
Yeah, no, there was...
Production should be kept out of it. I mean, we're talking about the piece that they acted in and the writing. What was it?
There were certain acting pieces that didn't fit well together there. They didn't flow. The timing was completely off. It felt like it staggered from one scene to the next.
I'll give you that, actually. Now thinking back to it, because I saw it when it first came out. It's been a minute. Now that you say that, I'm kind of thinking, maybe a 6.
The flow was weird for me.
Yeah.
I guess I'm a little less on it because unfortunately shame on me, but never saw it in theaters because at the time it wasn't available, and when it finally came out, I waited for Disney Plus, and
I waited.
And because of my work schedule, dude, I watched it in pieces. I watched it like a mini series, and so maybe for me that wasn't as jarring because I was making a lot of breaks. So,
but Yelena is a better Black Widow than ScarJo will ever be.
I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole just because I don't want to get lynched by the Marvel fanboy mob.
No, I'm sorry, and we're not talking TV right now, but also seeing what she brought to Hawkeye in the brief amount of time we got, I want a buddy film with Kate Bishop and her. Oh my gosh. We're not. I know. I'm sorry. We're talking movies.
No.
We gotta save that. no, their chemistry together is flipping kinetic. Like, I loved everything about all their conversations. Kate Bishop being that awkward girl, and Elena being that deadly assassin, but with a good sense of humor. No, we'll talk about them later, Ryan, especially if you haven't seen it yet.
I actually want you guys to review it, so I actually have motivation to watch it.
I know. Anyway, so that was that. I'm gonna kind of skim over the last couple that I watched. To catch up, because I know, shame on me, I missed Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
What I will do after getting off with you guys is I'll probably watch one episode of Vox Machina.
Yeah. And if you haven't watched Peacemaker, watch it. It's freaking hilarious.
I know. I've heard as much.
I was a huge John Cena fan when I was a kid, so it's just up my alley anyway. But
no, he is his character arc in this.
I've seen a lot of clips that are fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to watch it.
You might get the butterflies watching it. It's good.
I do every time I see John Cena because I'm the only one that can see John Cena.
Oh, he's one of those.
I have true sight.
Oh, snap.
I can see invisibility.
Okay.
All right, let's continue.
All right. Yeah.
Real
the only
quick,
person you can't see is Drax.
Nope. He's too quick.
Or he's learned to move so slowly that his movements are rendered invisible to the naked eye.
I was wondering if I could bait you into saying that again.
And you did. All right. Next up on the MCU list of catch-up films for me leading into Phase 4 and the Spider-Man film is I rewatched Spider-Man Homecoming, and I'm gonna haven't yet, but I'm gonna rewatch Far From Home, and hopefully by then No Way Home will have some sort of availability somewhere that I don't have to go to a theater necessarily. I would love to
acquire it for you.
Off air, Ryan. We'll talk about it later.
I know people that work at the theater. I can get you.
Okay, fair. All right. Fair enough. Let's talk about it later.
Get a reel. We'll get a projector. We'll make a movie night. Sell some tickets.
This all sounds pretty epic and
illegal.
Not in the cards for Marvel. Okay, I watched Captain Marvel because it was one of those things where one or two of us watched it in the group, and so we talked about it or reviewed it at the time. Maybe we briefly grazed over it. I don't even remember covering it, honestly, because it was so close to Infinity War and stuff that it fell off my radar.
I mean, Infinity War was the big name of that year.
Oh, I know.
That was unbeatable.
And it's funny to rewatch end credit scenes on some of these older films that I never saw before and be like, oh, they were referencing that film coming up or that film coming up.
Right.
You know, it's very interesting to see that.
We almost got a motherfucker out of Sam Jackson when he was referencing Captain Marvel.
Infinity War when he gets dusted. Sorry, spoilers. I'm kidding. Like 90% of the world has seen that movie by now.
If they haven't seen that movie, they're living under a rock and they need to get out of it.
And they're
no Patrick Stars allowed.
They're definitely not listening to this podcast.
Nope. Only cool kids listen to this podcast.
That's right. Only the cool. But that being said, though, Captain Marvel, I liked. There were moments of fun. Again, it kind of, unfortunately, I feel like it kind of fell in line similar to how much I liked Black Widow. You know, it was kind of one of those, sorry, Marvel, but like the very first Wonder Woman had a better female lead story.
Yeah.
Completely different characters. And Captain Marvel, I mean, she's basically the Superman equivalent of the, at least of the current Avengers, the current iteration of Avengers. definitely not the most powerfulest in the universe or on the scale of the most powerful characters, but she's up there.
She's not even the strongest Avenger.
No, but her scenes were still badass. Like I loved her.
I'm just referencing that one scene with Thor.
Well,
no, I'm the strongest Avenger.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Depends on if she's tapped in the binary or not.
Yeah. Now this is old news, Nick. I mean, the movie's been out for quite a while, so I mean, if you guys don't want Captain Marvel spoilers, skip ahead 1 minute. I'm not going to get too far into it. I just want to say that it was badass when she flew up to the atmosphere and like she did what she did. And here's the thing: is I thought my first introduction to her was Infinity War, so seeing her for the first time
just rip through the ship
in Infinity War and blazing through the ship, that was amazing. And here we get a tease of that where she blazes through one of Ronan the Accuser's ships because
Papa Smurf.
Yeah, Papa Smurf's trying to lay waste, and he doesn't act super skittish about it, but I still love what he says. Where he's like, "We'll be back," and the henchman said, his second in command or whatever said something about, "Oh, for the the planet or whatever." He's like, "No, for the female." They're like, "Oh, what? You need to pull your dick out later?" Really? I don't know. It was stupid. It was silly. But I loved what she did. Like, that was basically Ronan the Accuser's version of shitting his pants, but trying not to show it.
Yeah.
So I love that. For that. I love that moment. That's how I would depict his reaction. Like, and yeah, I mean, he's the hardest of hard asses he's the Judge Dredd of the Kree Empire. Like, that's what those are. The accusers, judge, jury, executioner. We get it. You're supposed to be tough, but it looked like you pissed your pants a little bit. Sorry. So I liked it. I enjoyed it. I'm also just going to give this a 7 overall enjoyment. It was fun. I kept avoiding it. Like I was looking at the films, and for some reason, just nothing about it struck me as like, oh, I gotta go see that one. But I watched it for the sake of seeing all the things, My last one, the last one, because the last one I'm going to talk about tonight is the first one I checked out in my rewatch binge marathon and catch up on things I missed. The first freaking Doctor Strange film. Oh, Nick, I've been re-listening to old podcasts, earliest podcasts of ours, like re-listening to some of the stuff with like Paul and Jeff Barry, and one of the episodes in the first 20 episodes that we did in 2016, 2017, which is right around when Doctor Strange came out, I remember referencing it and then acting ashamed that I hadn't seen it yet, and I admitted that on the cast, and here I am 5 years later, still hadn't seen it.
I cinematically brilliant.
I miss Paul.
I know. I miss a lot of the original guys on our group. They came back for a reunion, which you sadly missed out on, Ryan.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I got to wrap up. We'll reminisce later. But yeah. Doctor Strange. Dillbacher Cumberpatch. I mean,
Ruzzle Duck Cabbage Patch.
Hummus dill pickle sack? No. Sorry for the meme.
Cumberbum Bandersnatch.
Rubber duck Arthur necks.
Gosh. Anyway, the great grand Benedict Cumberbatch, who on it, my personal first experience with him, again, like Captain Marvel, was Infinity War, sadly. But like he was so seasoned in the character role that I ate it up in that movie as being my first time truly seeing him. I loved his snappiness with Tony Stark, and what do you say, the nigh unto thee or something like that. He said something fancy,
I can't
ancient,
remember. It's
fancy,
been a minute.
ancient. And Tony's like, "Did you literally just say nigh unto thee or something like that?" And he's like, and his cape slaps Tony in the face. The reason it's so fresh in my mind is because I rewatched. That's the other movie I rewatched was Infinity War with
I'm
my
sorry.
10-year-old daughter.
In that movie, they missed a very, very big opening there.
Which movie?
When Doctor Strange was talking to Tony Stark and he was saying this, he quite literally had the perfect moment to look Benedict Cumberbatch in the face and say, "No shit, Sherlock," and then turn, and it would have fit perfectly.
It would have been amazing.
Oh my!
Would have been amazing.
And you know the scene I'm talking about.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
But also, that's something Tony would have said.
Yeah,
they were both Sherlock, and it's amazing.
Oh, the
Is your mind blown, Joe?
No, dude, the meta just slapped me twice in the face, Ryan. Because I know they both were, but I wasn't thinking about Robert Downey at first. I know he's in 2 films, but I was like, oh yeah, the BBC series Sherlock with Cumberbatch. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm still gonna like. I love Sherlock's with Benedict,
and then you said they're both, and I was like, oh my god.
Robert Downey Jr. is my favorite Sherlock. I do love Benedict Cumberbatch Sherlock, but Robert Downey Jr. was just amazing.
They're good. They're good. Yeah. But yeah, that whole thing would have
I do like
that would have blown.
Oh yeah, huh? I forgot about that. Henry Cavill is also Sherlock.
What? In what?
Yeah.
In what?
In Nola Holmes?
In the one that focuses on Sherlock's sister.
Oh my gosh! Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that Apple Plus?
Have you still not seen that movie?
Ah, shoot. No, I know. You wrote about it. You even reviewed it on our website.
I thought it was fantastic. They're making a second one, by the way.
Nice.
I have too many things to watch, Nick. Okay, rating for Doctor Strange. Sorry.
I don't watch anything.
I know.
I watch enough for all of us.
But Ryan, like, this is why I badly wanted to come back to podcasting, because during the hiatus of us not podcasting, I didn't watch shit.
And
I literally
we're shaming him. He's forced to watch something because he doesn't want to be that far behind.
No, I just think I am like the best hypocrite ever, because I'm shaming him for not seeing these things, but half the shit we've reviewed.
You didn't believe that.
Touche. Yeah, I'm gonna bleep the whole.
Half the shit we've reviewed recently.
It's like Bilbo Baggins' quote.
Yeah.
I like half as many of you, half as much as you deserve, or something like that. Something from from the first Lord of the Rings film. It's like I've watched half of you.
I'd say
half as much as you. Blah. I don't know. I'm messing.
95% of the stuff that I have put a review on, I've seen.
Oh no, we know we're not.
But like recently, I've not watched anything because I've been a lazy sack of shit.
Hey man, well, whatever you got to get into to move on through your day-to-day life.
I've been gaming a lot now that I have an Xbox Series S.
Nick, we're gonna talk about it later, but I'm this close to just saying don't care about the Series X anymore, because I just want the ability to play all current gen stuff at least, which is now next gen is current gen. So sorry about the tangent, guys, but
no, you're fine.
Every Fred Meyers in the Gresham area has 2 or 3 Series S's on
Roseburg
the shelf.
has them too.
And
they're all there. Why haven't you bought me one yet, Nick?
Because I don't have money to buy myself one.
I put myself into debt because I bought one, so I can't really.
Let me see what we have to do with our tax return, Nick, and maybe you can help me acquire one.
I can acquire one for you if you don't ask any questions about it.
It fell off a truck, right?
Let's wrap up the show. Sorry, let's finish. Let's finish.
You better leave that in there. If I watch
I
this
will.
and I'm not, that quote is not there, I'm finding you and Gresham.
No, you ain't got to worry about that. All right. Guys, Doctor Strange was a fantastic film. I freaking loved it. Rachel McAdams was good for the brief amount of time she was in there, and it was just like, oh man. I remember them describing Doctor Strange when I first heard about the movie coming out, that he's kind of portraying him as an asshole and blah blah blah. But like, I loved the journey of his character, where he was kind of like the Tony Stark, but in his world of the medical field, and then losing something, being shown a different side of reality that he wasn't prepared for. It softened him. Like, he left and took off for purely selfish reasons, and then finally the wise words and world of mysticism and the ancient one got to him eventually. And I just loved the whole journey. It was so fun. And dude, Nick, we'll review this in our TV talk eventually. I've watched almost all of the What If series. Insane. And I saw the Doctor Strange episode. Like, what if he didn't lose his hands, but he lost his heart? I was like, oh my god, this alternate reality shit is intense. These alternate takes on these great stories that we love. But anyway, it was.
I am so excited for the Infinite, the Universe of Madness.
I know. Okay, so yeah, that's also why I watch Doctor Strange, is because Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. There's so much going on, so many rumors of who's in it, cameos. Currently, we usually get afraid of the term reshoots because we think, oh, test audiences, it didn't go well, so they're changing up the story. No, dude. Like, a lot of the reshoots happening right now it's the studio having finally got a hold of this actor or that actor for more cameos. The only thing they're really reshooting right now is additional freaking cameos, because of the craziness that is going to be the Multiverse of Madness. But I like this takeoff, this beginning point. Doctor Strange has now been in, I think, 3 films. Only one of his own. And then he was in 2 Avengers films, Endgame and Infinity War, and he was in the first Spider-Man. No, second.
Yeah,
third. He's in the newest
movies.
One. He's in the newest one. Doctor Strange is in the newest Spider-Man film.
Newest Spider-Man, the 2 Infinity War and Endgame, and then his own movie. So now we're going to get a 5th movie.
Yeah. But it'll be his second
lead
film where he's the lead in it. Because there's so many actors that are going to be in Multiverse of Madness because of the context of its story. Anyway, my rating for Doctor Strange 1 is I give it a solid 9 out of 10. It was fun. It was a blast. It was fun. I loved how his character got a little more snarky and a little more funny towards the end, and he became less of an asshole, and it was just a really cool journey to see him on. Mind blown. But anyway, and then just honorable mentions. I have my oldest daughter, she's 10. I've been watching some of these late at night or early in the morning, and like, she's snuck out, and I've ended up just letting her sit down and watch it. And then
that's a good dad.
Next thing you know, and it's fun because like, she's asking the good kind of questions, like the curious ones, and because she hasn't grown up with any of the comics, so the movies is all she has to go off of. And
as long as you're slipping in dad jokes with it, you're doing good.
Well, and I know Infinity War is like a tough pill to swallow for hardcore fans.
Yeah.
But I felt like it was a good opportunity to literally expose her to like 50 different characters, and like it's such a long movie that there's plenty of time for me to say a little bit about each character as they are shown,
Yeah.
And she's familiar with a lot of them even before this movie. But this is Infinity War is kind of my 10-year-old's introduction to the MCU.
Yeah.
So it's going to be kind of a weird story to tell because there's 20 films before that that she hasn't seen. I mean, she hasn't seen many of them, but yeah, I've got so many rumors. I'm gonna throw a couple of these out there because we don't have like a rumor section yet, but I'm thinking about throwing it in there because I hear hour-long conversations going on with one of my favorite podcasts, Pop Culture Leftovers, and I love it when the lead host Brian just dives into a lot of these fairly reliable sources. Don't always get it right, but a lot of the rumors they say tend to ring true. And so I'll post a link and we'll talk more rumors later because I think that's a fun conversation to have with a group of nerdy friends, you know. All I'll say is there's a really strong confirmation that Patrick Stewart is coming in as a version of Charles Xavier, as a cameo at the very least, in the Multiverse of Madness. It's been rumored but heavily confirmed that Hugh Jackman will not. He's outright refused, doesn't want to come back. And with the swan song of Wolverine being such an incredible success and such a beautifully told story for Hugh Jackman, I wouldn't want to see him come back unless it was for a really special moment. And I think a lot of fans are really hoping. There's a rumor that even if they can't get him now, they might be able to eventually get him for Secret Wars, which in the comics, Wolverine plays a much bigger role. I'm not against them recasting a younger Wolverine, but it would be cool to just see, I don't know, one last appearance in some form or another. And I don't know if that's the right one or not, but he's definitely not showing up in Doctor Strange 2. But we do know Patrick Stewart is. And I mean, there's a pretty large list of other possibilities I don't have in front of me right now. But that was one that I was like, oh, man.
I hear a lot of rumors that they've actually replaced Wolverine already.
They might have.
I would like Tom Hardy.
With Taron Egerton.
I want Tom Hardy.
We'll have to see, man. I don't know. About my feelings on it is what I guess I'm trying to say. But anyway. Well, gone way past the folding mark of a long episode, over an hour and a half at least, or close to thereabouts.
Yeah, a little bit of cut never out. Shut up. I'm joking.
Do you have anything? I know, dude. I was mostly just reviewing.
No, it's all right.
Recapping some crap. I'm sorry.
It was needed.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yes, actually, I have a movie I'd like to review that no one's seen except for me here.
Okay.
I took my kids to go watch a movie with the family, and we went and saw Sing 2.
Oh, that movie.
Okay, right. Yeah.
I can honestly say this is one of those sequels that I personally felt was better than the first one.
I didn't even know the first movie existed.
Yeah.
So,
no, I actually enjoyed the hell out of this movie. It was really well done. The voices of Taron Egerton, Matthew McConaughey.
Okay, I'm sold now.
You heard Matthew McConaughey.
I'm sold.
Yeah. Scarlett Johansson's in it. Bono.
Now you're repelling me.
Well, there's a whole bunch of.
I understand. It's called Sing and Bono's in it, but like, why? Of all people,
there's a reason.
There's so many better singers out there. What the f*** is that?
Yeah.
What the f*** is that thing? You can't just open with that. What the f*** hell was that thing? That was some demonic, like, black metal ant lemur? This is a black metal lemur? What the f*** was that? Even the koala looks scared.
That's the koala is Matthew McConaughey.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
With a shotgun. I'm going to eliminate that black metal lemur. Joe, you're muted.
Joe is muted. You're muted.
You are
Joe.
muted.
Oh, how long have I been muted? Damn it!
I don't know. I don't think I heard you say
the trailer's
anything.
been playing.
That explains why you were talking over me, and I was reading all the names off just like you were.
Yep. We haven't been able to hear you since you pushed play on the
I
trailer.
didn't hear a single thing you said. I didn't even know you were talking.
I was. My mouth was moving, although my screen was small.
I was too busy reading and
No,
being terrified by the black metal lemur.
No, but I can honestly say I would give this as an animated movie an 8.5.
I will watch it. That actually looked good. As much
really
as
liked
I don't like Bono.
The music in it was really good. It was funny. It had me laughing. And it was clean for the kids to watch, but still had the humor that made me they snuck that in the kids' movie. But okay.
I love when that happens.
Yeah.
I love when they do it well.
Yeah. And the that porcupine is Scarlett Johansson. And
okay.
she was actually singing those songs and did very well.
I had a feeling she could sing.
She was in the first movie with her brother Porcupine before they split up in the first movie. But yeah.
See, my only problem with this so far is I didn't really hear that twang from Matthew McConaughey. All right.
He's that guy.
I know. The koala.
Yeah.
This scene right there, that fucking guy, that was what sold me, was that little scene in the trailer. Just because the fucking song is amazing.
I know. Sorry, guys, we removed the audio because YouTube will not let us earn any monetizations on it.
So now we're just like blankly staring at this for a minute with a little bit of commentary. YouTube ruining everything.
Oh yeah, shit. Well, I mean, I played it so loud that we didn't say a whole lot during the trailer, so I wasn't too worried about cutting it out.
Yeah.
And most of our commentary is happening like right now. So
if you cut out the me 8.5. If you cut out that part with me freaking out over the black metal lemur, send it to me so I can post it on TikTok. Because that thing was disturbing. That's going to give me nightmares tonight. That black metal lemur is creepy.
What do you want from me?
I want you to die. That's what I want, you sick little I'm going to go into that world with a shotgun and decimate that little freak.
And on that note, I figured if the first cold open wasn't that great, I'll cut that into the beginning so people have something to look forward to at the end of the episode. It's been a while since I've just nabbed up a random scene from the middle of the episode and thrown that into the beginning. That's what I used to do. Because usually when you find a genuinely funny moment, it's in the middle of all this.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what, guys? Nick, if you have anything else that you want to say about it, or should we bid our listeners adieu?
It was good. Watch it. Enjoy it.
I will watch
it. Yeah. Good stuff. I still have a few other films that I will probably just touch on next week, so we'll save them for then. All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap up our Movie Matters for the week. Due to scheduling, I'm still working things out, guys, so we're not fully back yet to our 3 segments a week. We're trying to work back towards that. We just got to get our schedules a little more aligned so we can make that happen. But for now, guys, we do thank you for watching us in all the places as usual. Podcasts, everywhere, audio, or YouTube if you want to see the video. Sometimes we look sillier than we sound. But we'll let you be the judge of that. Also, guys, hit subscribe on the channel called Nerdentials Podcast.
Also, click the bell.
Click and the bell. Yeah, guys.
That little bell.
We're trying to go weekly. It's not a guarantee, but we're trying to get back to finally get back to that weekly schedule, beginning of the week, hopefully for certain. But until then, hit that bell. Just keep notified of when our episodes do drop. Sorry about the glitchiness, guys. You're probably going to see my screen cut in and out if you're watching YouTube. We'll try to fix that by next week. But anyway, yeah, we do. We have 2 channels now: a gaming dedicated channel, and all the pop culture stuff is here on Nerdentials podcast. So, movie, TV, and gaming news will still get covered on here. But Nick, Ryan, Joe, myself, guys, for us and all that and all them shenanigans, we want to just thank you for watching. This has been your Nerdy Essentials. And as always, my gaming nerds, we'll see you
on the extra side.
You're
on my
waiting. Ryan.
I was waiting until Nick said it.
All right, you know what? We'll see you on the other side.
On the other side.